On these old Chevys, it's really not that hard to take the wing window out or get the rubber off, but I'm going to make a quick tutorial on just how to get the window out, and then we'll do the rubber after that. First, you'll get your door panel off. And before you judge me, I didn't do that. I color matched the outside in. This was done prior to me with a completely different color. Once you have your whole door panel off, you're going to take and loosen up this bolt and make it so you can swing the arm back so you can push the glass back, and then you're going to take your wing window assembly all the way out. One good step is you'll want to loosen up the mirror body and take off this rod, this tensioner rod, because that's going to block you from getting it all the way out as well. Obviously, if you know these trucks, you know you got screws, a bolt, and you get the wing window and slide it up. All right, so you can see here, I got all the stuff out. I got the wing window leaned over, and we're just going to work it coming out this way. You'll have to turn it and twist it a little bit to get it out. But like I said, I got that glass pushed all the way back, so you can see why that is as important as it is to loosen that bolt on that run channel. So the big part here now is you want to make sure you have the one piece or the two piece, and it's pretty easy to tell. You'll basically open up your window and look in this gap right here. If it looks like one piece, this is the brand new one. If it looks like one piece, then it's one piece, obviously. The two piece, it just works in here, and then this backside folds down. It's a lot easier, in my opinion. But install is all kind of the same way. Basically, what you'll do is you'll drill out the bottom of this rivet. I use a 3/16 and then a 1/8, and then punch it out the rest of the way. Then you take off your tensioner bolt, lay out your hardware with your bushings in there. This one's obviously put together wrong. This square flat piece goes up in here to keep the window from turning too far. The first one I did, I pulled out these backside rivets, and somebody else did that on this one as well. And you can see, whatever they did, they had no idea what they were doing. So, just don't do it that way. I don't think that's a good way to do it. So I'll get this drilled out, and I'll take that off. I'll get this glass out, and I'll show you guys what it looks like after that. Alright, so got all that done. These are the hardware pieces. We'll show how to put that together in a second. But as an added bonus, whoever had this window out last time also screwed this up. So you're going to have this little pin that you slide out of there. This is the new pin. And then you just take this off real carefully and kind of make sure you put it back together how it goes. You get down in here, there's going to be a Torx bolt. These come out like this. Obviously that locks in there to make it locking open. The big part here is we're missing this gasket that goes on the glass, and the black button is completely scratched. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the new chrome button just to make sure it fits right and everything's together, because it's part of the kit. And then we'll vinyl wrap the chrome button, because I do have a little black vinyl sitting around in the corner. The kit comes with different tension of gaskets, comes with your wave ring, it comes with 2 different springs. It goes with everything to rebuild the handle. So we'll get that rebuilt, and then we'll get the new rubber on. All this really is, though, is peel it off and just make sure it sets down nice. You're going to have a channel here that they tore, and you're just going to set it over this as you slide it on. It will fit. You just got to be careful. That's really the whole name of this game, is just be careful with what you're doing. Once that's all back together, you'll have a kit of rivets to rebuild this. You'll get your step rivet and your peener. If you look inside there, that's why it's called a peener. And it's going to wrap the rivet down underneath the window lip. But alright, so we got the new handle in. It locks and unlocks. Basically, you're going to do the outside button, the plastic gasket, the rubber gasket inwards. You'll put the wave ring on the locker, the bolt through the locker, the spring, the button. Slip this on there, and then you slide your locker pin in using a pair of channel locks. Now on to the rubber. Just yank it out. Alright, so now that we have the rubber out, we'll set that off to the side. Oh, he set it on the paint. Yeah, well, the paint's fucked. I'll tell you that right now. Clear off the whole work area, and then you'll grab some rubber cleaner or some glass cleaner, and you're just gonna soak this whole thing. Maybe some phone started dying, so I went on the stand. But yeah, you'll just basically work it through. The big thing I want to point out is, like I said, there's a pre-existing slit right here. Comes in all of them. Now, sometimes you will have to open up this little channel with a razor blade really carefully to slide it around this edge right here on both sides. I've noticed that they don't come 100% perfect, but if you're going this far into it, you should be pretty good with your hands. So I assume that you could do that. It's just literally, you'll take a very sharp razor blade and you'll just cut right where you feel like it needs to be cut. Just a little slip in here so you can fold this out around this edge. As one tip, I kind of get up underneath the grip in here so I don't touch the outside, and use some channel locks real lightly to kind of push onto it. Like I said, it's all lubed up inside this. So you just use some channel locks and it should push that into the proper place in the channel. Struggle with it for about, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. This is honestly the worst part of the whole job. Once you got all this in, that looks real pretty like that. Let me see if I can get it to focus. There we go. Once that's all pretty and in and it's wrapped around the edge, this also has a channel back here. This will sit into really flush, and then you'll wrap this under the edge, and then we'll start building the window back into the frame. One thing I'll use here is a little more of that rubber lubricant just on the front and on the back a little bit, make it slide in easier. And then the back end of a right angle hook tool kind of helps it fall in place a little bit. Now, that don't look like it's quite right, but it actually is, because you're making a seal against the window, and it may not have looked like that when you pulled it off because it was dilapidated, but it will have this gap on the back. As long as it feels like it's all the way in, then it's right. And worst case, any of this, if it falls out or moves a little bit, with the window in, you can push it all in or push it back into place, lubricate it, do whatever you need to do. It's just getting the window out and getting the new rubber in, you have to have the window out. You slip the glass into place with it open, and you'll see where that rivet goes right in here. That step rivet, you'll set it down in, peen it over the bottom on a hard surface. I almost fucked up. There's no hardware here. Hold on a second. I'm going to take the square-ended piece, and you're going to slip it in over the window rod, along with a bushing, if you have one. And it'll take a second to get it lined up. Once you do, it'll slide right through, slide right in. And like I said, then that's keeping you from opening the window too far. It is your fail safe on this part of the window. Then you'll take your step rivet. What are you doing, step rivet? Anyways, then you'll get the window lined up in there, and if everything's on right, you should be able to just peen that over and tap it in. And this is something like what your finished product should look like. It was already chipped before me. I am going to come in here, tape it off real tight, and black it out real quick right before I install it. But installs the same way. You should be able to close it off the truck now, and it should work as expected. The only thing left to do after that is just make sure you set your tension on here. Just a handful of cranks, just so this stops spinning, because that's about as tight as it will ever need to be. Once that's done, like I said, go ahead, throw it back in, double check your work, and that's how to install a wing window on an old C10. And thank you guys for watching. I hope y'all have a great rest of your day, and I love each and every one of you guys. There's nothing you can do about it.